Hello and welcome to the Philippines. I heard a loudspeaker, and I went out on my balcony. Police were in the process of giving this guy a citation. I don't know if they chased him down or if they were looking for him specifically, what the deal was, if he was reported for something. But anyway, they were in the process of writing him a citation, and after the citation, they impounded the motorbike. So I don't know. He didn't have a license. He didn't have a registration, whatever. And why they picked him out of not much of a crowd on this street really anymore. There are a few motorbikes up and down this street. A lot of taxis. And now that the taxis can run again, a lot of taxis, but they don't have many customers because the customers have been out of work for 5 or 6 months. They don't have money. They aren't going to spend it taking a taxi when they need to eat. And as the economy slowly, very slowly, starts getting back. So anyway, this guy lost his bike in the deal, whatever the situation was. The last citation I had in the U.S. was a parking ticket. It was a parking ticket in Los Angeles. And I actually was traveling. I missed a court date. And I showed up I don't know, a couple weeks or a month later. I forget the details. Many, many, many years ago. But I showed up to fight it. I took pictures to show that there were no signs, no parking signs where I parked, and other vehicles were parked there. And anyway, went to the court. Turned out because I hadn't made my court date, I was now basically a felon. They didn't treat me as a felon, fortunately. They didn't arrest me, but it was a $300 fine, and I was going to fight it and argue my case. I brought all my documents to the court in Los Angeles, and they said, "Well, if you want to fight it, we need to set a court date." And like I said, I was traveling quite a bit. It was difficult enough for me to get back there anyway, and it was definitely going to cost me money to try to get back for a court date. So I said, "Well, can I pay the fine?" And he said, "Well, the fine is court costs." Oh, great, great. $300 for court costs. So anyway, I could afford it, even though $300 is a lot of money for most of us, just to shell out for no good reason. And this is I saw a jet coming in, a flight, not very many flights coming into Mactan International Airport, Mactan Island, Cebu, but there are flights coming in. If they have passengers, it's usually Filipinos, primarily Filipinos, or their married spouses and children, OFWs trying to get back because they've lost their jobs in other parts of the country. And but anyway, the fines can get outrageous for traffic fines, other types of fines in the U.S. I don't know about the rest of the world, but $1,000 fine for one of these guys on a motorbike, I'm sure that is a big chunk if they even have income. Now, I don't know what that person did, and I'm not making excuses for anybody. There are a number of Filipinos who don't have licenses, they don't have registrations, whatever the case may be, and they take that risk. Anyway, I'm gonna walk uptown. There's downtown down by Cologne Street, and there's uptown. Uptown generally refers to I learned this before I moved here. Took me some time to figure it out. Uptown refers to the area basically around Fuente Osmeña Circle. A couple of Robinson's malls there, and quite a number of hotels, and some main streets come off there. Mango Avenue, uh, close to Mango Square, which used to be a bigger entertainment area. Lots of bars. Now that has changed over the years. A couple of years ago, the last mayor, Osmeña, didn't like the reputation. This is what I was told anyway. He didn't like the reputation that Mango Square was getting with all the bars and the girls and the lady boys and stuff hanging out. So whatever the mechanism was, he made it difficult, expensive, or impossible for many of them to continue with their liquor licenses. And so there's still a number of bars, a couple of bars on the main drag, a couple across the street from Mango Square, a couple on side streets that a lot of foreigners hang out at when they're open. And anyway, it's changed quite a bit. Now, I've heard the same thing about. In fact, I listened to some Thai news from Thailand, and they're saying like walking street. Some of the areas there, the politicians, some of the important people in Thailand don't like the reputation. The bars and the girls, that reputation that it had. In fact, in one of those cities, it was Pattaya or Bangkok, a walking street type area. They've even opened it up to traffic. So now you have traffic where it used to be a walking street, and they're trying to turn it into more family friendly type place. We'll see how that goes over. If you are the party type, here in the Philippines, of course there are a number of different areas of, Metro Manila area is just huge, huge area, and there would be a number of areas up there, and I would have to research that. I haven't been there. I want to go visit Manila sometime and look around. Angeles City probably is the closest thing here to anything like you would find at Pattaya. Now there's a dormitory, studio dormitory for rent. Lots of dormitories around the Philippines. That's how people can afford to live. And anyway, there's a place over in Mandaue called Times Square. I've done a video about that. Has kind of a concentration of bars right across the street from Park Mall, which is a smaller, older mall over there. There are areas. There are a number of hotels, resorts with bars and entertainment. Just depends on what you're looking for. Now, as far as tourism in the Philippines, I still have not heard anything about international tourist visa being allowed, being given out. So I'm just guessing that it's going to be another couple months before there's any possibility of that happening. Thailand is really putting a lot of faith in kickstarting their domestic tourism, as is the Philippines. I've watched another number of interviews and newscasts, and the Philippine tourism dollar, the domestic tourism dollar, is surprisingly a large percentage of the tourism dollars spent in the Philippines. And that is a numbers issue. It's because there's 110 million Filipinos here, and they go out to the local Filipino beaches that generally cost less. Now there's a middle class and a higher class that go out to the other resorts. But the missing element that they're not talking much about at all right now is international tourism. There are tens of thousands of tourist spots that cater to foreign tourists. Some to the Asians, the Koreans, the Japanese, the Chinese, some more to Westerners from different parts of the world. And the domestic tourism, well, even Oslo, the whale watching down south of Cebu City, they did a big promotion in the last month. A few of the politicians, Governor Garcia, and a lot of the government workers went down, got a lot of the boats out there, make it look like a nice big crowd. But my opinion all along, and that's what's happening, is most of the people have been out of work for 4 or 5 months, don't have money. They're scared to death that they're going to get a virus if they do. They're being told still, stay in your house, don't go out. They're given very few quarantine passes, so they can't even leave half the time. Um, so anyway, they're scared, and I think they're ending up with an average of 10, 15 people a day is from what I've read, going to Oslo that generally would have, I think, over 1,000 per day. And so, that's not going to sustain the tourist places down there, the hotels and the boat operators and the taxis, the buses, all those places that make money off the foreign tourists. Tens of thousands of people that will not have jobs, will not have income revenue until they open it up to the foreign tourists. And even Thailand is at first, a couple months ago, nations were talking about bubble tourism, certain bubbles. Now they're talking about, I don't know, they got different names. It's all turns into the same, having corridors, certain parts of certain countries that are free of the virus may be allowed to travel to other certain parts of another country. But they're going to make it very unpleasant to go on those tours, so I doubt many people will go because they're going to confine you to very specific places. They're going to have monitors be watching you. You're going to think you're in North Korea or someplace like that. So until it opens up and it becomes more of a pleasant vacation type experience, good luck. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.